I digress. Last half hour before we go into added time to talk about things and update what's going on. We go from Peru to Seattle. How many shows can do that? Today we've gone from Atlanta to Chicago to Lima to Seattle. That means we bring in our buddy Nico Moreno from Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart. What cup of coffee are you on, sir?
Cup number 2. What's going on, everybody? Happy to be on, of course. Yes, not as tired as I am other mornings. I did have to see a couple of CCC games there late, but maybe it's because my wife made me get up at 4:30 to go to the gym, but I'm feeling all right.
To get up at 4:30 to go to the gym? Did you go with the boss, or did you have to go independently and she was just making sure that you got short sheeted and she was pulling the sheets off for you to go?
Oh, absolutely not. If she doesn't get up, I don't get up. Every time that alarm clocks, I kind of hope that she just goes back to bed, but she did not today.
Okay. In hour number 1, I went through the matchups from last night. LAG survived, basically. It was the away goal from Paintsville that was the difference, so they advanced. And they've got a great bracket. I don't care what anybody says. They've got Mount Pleasant coming up next. Then you end up with Vancouver taking care of business. They TCB'd their way through. They got rid of Cartagenas. But I spent some time in the early part of the show for opening kickoff having to do with FC Cincinnati and O&M. And you look at the score line after the 2 legs, and it was 13-0. 9-0 last night. A lot of academy kids got reps. A lot of the younger players got reps for FC Cincinnati. Understandably so, that you were in control of that match. And after the match was over, the O&M coach admitted that he only had 14 position players available to him because of visa issues. And I think it's safe to say that that contributed to what we were looking at last night. And I'm hoping that that is kind of a signal to the powers that be for these clubs that are coming in and playing these grandes in the tournament. Give them as much help as you can so you don't have visa issues, so they've at least got a full bench and a fair shot, because you never know what's going to happen if you've got that full bench and a fair shot. I just, when Coach Aparicio came on after the match and he was like, yeah, I only had 14 position players. I'm like, with visa issues that were the problems getting into the country, I'm like, okay, that's where they need help in this situation. I hope that this is something that they can put on the wall as CONCACAF and go, okay, younger club, they need help. How can we help them going forward so you don't continue to have 2 legs like we had with Cincinnati and O&M?
Thank you for bringing that up, John, because I continue to see some comments that to me are not beneficial to the growth of MLS, the growth of soccer in the area in CONCACAF, because I continue to hear, oh, these teams that they're not even pro teams. This is why MLS needs to start to just work directly with CONMEBOL and go to Copa Libertadores. Hey, let's slow it down. Let's continue to grow the region. Let's make sure that at least we figure out where visas for teams to play the tournament to be at their best of their capacity. Let's make sure that the fields that this games are being played on are up to the standard. Let's do all those things. Let's continue to grow a CONCACAF region that I think has gotten a lot better as time has gone on. I can think of 10, 15 years ago where CONCACAF was a joke in the sense of even MLS was not taken seriously. Even Liga MX teams were not taken seriously, at least by South American standards, right? So thank you for bringing that up. I do think that has to be a point of emphasis for the conference to get better. And all of these small teams that are trying to develop with no infrastructure, barely little money and help from the government and their own domestic leagues. The Salvadorian league. I mean, obviously, the Dominican Republic it's even at a lesser. They have even a bigger disadvantage than others. But even the Tico League, the Panamanian League, all these leagues that they're trying to keep up. It's difficult because they don't have the infrastructure and the money that a league like MLS does. That's why I laugh. I laugh so many times when I hear people talk about, oh, well, MLS should be even better than they are now. And I don't understand why MLS isn't at a better, bigger moment. Look how young the league is and look at where they are. And I think that you would be kind of glad and learn that it's not easy to be where MLS is at this early in the fruition of the league in general. So yes, I hope that that is the case. There were some really bad games, and this was one of them. But look, you saw the LA Galaxy game. That was a game that they struggle, and maybe it's more of an indictment of where LA Galaxy's at. But look, when a guy like Pencil, a guy like Peck are having issues just breaking down blocks, that you got to give a little bit of credit to the opponent. You got to be able to say, hey, this is what didn't work out. So to each his own, but I continue to be someone that wants the region to get better and know so much. Let's worry about moving on and going to playing in South America.
Yep, a couple of weeks from now, you're going to have Toluca in San Diego, Mount Pleasant and LAG, Cruz Azul, Monterrey, Alajuelense, and LAFC, Cascadia. Thank you very much with Seattle and Vancouver.
In Spokane, that's
uh-huh.
going to be fun.
Yeah. Oh boy. So that's gonna be an interesting one. Tigres and FC Cincinnati, America versus the winner of Philly and Defense Force, and Messi and friends taking on Nashville for the 19th time in a row in a competition. All right, so into the discussion about Major League Soccer, there are two individuals that I need to start your talk with here: Jordan Morris and Hassani Dotson. From what happened last week, it's never a good thing when you see Jordan Morris go down early and he has to be subbed. Hassani Dotson is taken off on a concussion sub. What do we know?
Yeah, look, in order to kind of condense it all, the Seattle Sounders open up the 2026 season with a comfortable win over Colorado, but he had a little bit of everything. It's what I call the good, the bad, and the ugly. Mm-hmm. So let's start with the bad. Two injuries at that particular time, which was obviously the one that was more concerning. 4 minutes into the game, Jordan Morris lifts his hand, asks for a sub. He stays in the game for a couple more minutes, ends up just having to sit down, laid onto the ground. And per Brian Spencer yesterday, he has a grade 1A quad injury. He talked about it being part of his shooting mechanism and how difficult it might be to, kind of move forward from that. But it's only 4 weeks, a minimum of 4 weeks. That's how much time Jordan will miss. I would think that he might be even maybe one more than that. I think they're going to be cautious at getting him back. Anytime that you have a player with that sort of explosiveness and that need to use that particular muscle so often, I think that you want to be very cautious with. So 4 to 5, we'll see where that goes. Good. The positive is that Hassani Dotson, not in concussion protocol. He took a big hit. It was a big collision. I really thought that he was going to be under concussion protocol. It took him a while. In the 61-minute half of soccer that the Sounders played against Colorado, which puts me into the ugly category. The ugly was the referee, and it was terrible. It was slow. It looked like this guy was on training wheels. They were trying to just look. VAR is supposed to be to help the referee. Let's say that you could put a magnifying glass on some of those, but let's not put a microscope. Let's not try to go back to the smallest second. The disallowed goal for Hassani is ridiculous. The careless jump in, whatever they called it, I thought it was awful. So between the refereeing and how slow that first half was, I do think that this game took a little bit of shine from the Sounders' first 3 points. But then the good for the Sounders, structurally very good, discipline, compact where they needed to be. Although Brian didn't necessarily took that victory lap, I thought that his pressing was very good. He called it okay. I thought that it was very effective. Colorado did invite it. It's going to be interesting to see how Colorado develops, because they're a team that's taking 4 or 5 touches in their own third in order to get out from the back. They're inviting that pressure, so it was maybe a little bit easier for Seattle to get on, and maybe that's what Brian's going off of. But offensively, very good. Jesus Ferreira, 2 assists, so sharp on the ball, finding pockets in space, putting the ball where it needs to be. Should have had a 3rd assist in a beautiful left-footed through ball to Albert Rusnak that Albert is going to want that back all season long. I thought that Osase was okay, not great, but he did the dirty work, keeping the center backs occupied, creating space. And of course, Paul Rothrock, he comes in for Jordan Morris in a time where the whole stadium lost all the oxygen out of it. I mean, as soon as you saw Jordan Morris on the ground, you just thought that the winds of your sails were done. Paul Rothrock came in with 2 fans in his hand and just uplifted that stadium. Beautiful effort on that first assist to Albert Rusnak, who you got to give credit, second header of his career, which is kind of funny. He gets that first goal, and then Paul Rothrock just pushing the envelope, following the play. Ferreira finds him. Paul Rothrock puts it away. So that's kind of the gist of a good, comfortable win for the Sounders. Should have been 3, should have been 4, but I think that Brian Spencer is just happy with the win.
Yeah, and to your point about officiating, we did get into it a little bit back on Monday with the Noah Cobb call, which perfectly fine. It should have been a yellow. It should not have been a red, but that goes to the larger issue. I personally thought that the Reggie Cannon challenge was more of dangerous play than the Noah Cobb foul that was rescinded from a red back to a yellow. I'm surprised, frankly, Colorado even finished the match 11-11.
I totally agree. For me, the biggest bone I have to pick with the situation is that it should have been like the NFL. Look, if the call on the field was a red card, which that's what it was, there should be clear and obvious evidence that it wasn't. And for the referee to, what it felt like he was just sitting there listening to VAR, just trying to coach him through that moment, I think that's counterproductive to the whole point of VAR. So allow him to make a call. And I thought that there was some aggressiveness and I thought there was some recklessness to getting that elbow extended the way it did. That was just my take on the play. But then when the referee goes to the monitor and then tells you it was a reckless yellow. I mean, it was a reckless foul challenge, but it's a yellow. He said it with this sort of emphasis, like he was going to stick with the red. He didn't. I just did not like it. But to me, it's mainly that whenever you're trying to quarterback this thing from the VAR offices, I don't like it. Allow the referee to also have some say in the game.
Well, and that I think is the problem that we have to continue to be vigilant about. It is not up to the VAR to re-referee a moment.
Correct. Love it.
And with VAR, you are there as last time I checked, the A means assistant, video assistant referee. It is not just VR. It's not, video resources or whatever. It's not video referee. It is video assistant referee. You're not there to relitigate everything and sit there and say, well, I saw this, I saw this, I saw this. This is what it should be. No, that's not how this works. You are there as an adjunct. You're there as eyes in the sky to walk through, hey, you might have missed something, but not to convince you to flip your original call if there isn't, if you're not having to sit there and go frame by frame and go Zapruder film and try and find something which might not be there and relitigate and re-referee. That's the larger issue that we've seen, sadly, too much in the last couple of years in Major League Soccer, and I think we just have to continue to be vigilant about that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, because look, if the referee thought it was such a bad foul to not just give the red, but to stop a potential offensive opportunity for Seattle because the ball got over. Osase was with the ball, getting ready to take all the space in the world, and he cuts the play, right? There's no advantage. If it was a yellow and he didn't think it was so egregious, you would have let the play run, and then maybe later you come back and you give the yellow. But that's not what happened here. He immediately stopped it because he thought it was so egregious, and then you made the referee look like a fool by, like you said, re-refereeing from VAR. So absolute botch job from the referee throughout the whole game.
Couple of other games out west I want to get your thoughts on before we head into the weekend of match day number 2. San Jose and Sporting. San Jose puts 3 on the board in unsuspecting ways. Sporting, I think it's going to be a long year. And then Messi and friends go to the as we call it in Southern California, the LA Mausoleum, the Memorial Coliseum, and lose 3-0 to LAFC. And then Denny Bwanga, a couple of days ago, signs a contract extension through 28-29, I believe. So he's going to be there for a while. When you look at those two matches, what sticks in your head?
Let's slow down with San Jose. It was Sporting Kansas City. It wasn't great. Look, Nico Shaqiri is he was phenomenal. He was good. I think it's going to be fun to watch him. But again, this was against Sporting Kansas City. Two of those goals come from a center back, set pieces. You could tell me whatever you want about this San Jose roster. It's not good. It does have that Bruce Arena, obviously, coaching tree, and they're disciplined, and they're going to be taking advantage of set pieces and things of that nature. But you can't tell me that you saw that game and thought, San Jose is going to be pretty good this season. And if you are, then I just don't know what to tell you. Timo Werner is going to bring that level up, sure, but I still do not see enough from San Jose to think that Timo Werner is going to be able to have a bigger impact when you're the only guy up there. Judd gets his goal. Again, I've said really good things about Judd, but he is an average attacker at best in MLS. So let's just pump the brakes there a little bit. At least they were disciplined. I thought Daniel was good on goal. I think this is more an indictment on how poor, how terrible the West Conference biggest loser of the offseason, Sporting Kansas City, looked in this game. And then when it came to Miami and LAFC, we hit it right. I told you so. I thought that LAFC.
Fort Lauderdale police were the Messi cops.
Messi cops. Look at that.
Messi
as soon as I'm talking about Miami, as soon as people, come on now. This is the powers. The powers at work here. You will not keep me quiet. You will not keep me quiet. Look, I think a lot of people need to be writing an apology letter to Mark Dos Santos. And I know a lot of them are going to talk about this team is just that good. They're going to minimize what he did. But I thought that, look, with Andy Rose as part of that assistant staff grouping, I look at what the Sounders did to expose Miami last year. Mm-hmm. This year is a different team. I understand it. It's new. A lot of people were telling me, "Hey, this is that rebuild team, and new defenders and new attackers and all of these things." But I just thought LAFC was dominant. People keep dogging on St. Clair. I think he's stopped two clear chances in that first half. Otherwise, he's 3-0 at halftime. So yes, he had that boo-boo where he comes out. I don't know what he was thinking. Lost his head trying to be Earl Thomas or something like that out there in the middle of the field. Was weird. But regardless of, the reality is that Miami's going to have the same defensive issues as last season. Mikhail is going to, I think, at some point figure it out, get it together. Everybody wants to dog on Ian Frey. Look, everybody's going to have a hard time with Denny Bwanga. He's a problem. He's a guy that deservingly just got that extension because he has been an X factor for LAFC the entire time. So I just think this is an LAFC team that's going to be very good, very well coached. They're going to continue to get better. And Inter Miami is going to find themselves in a lot of situations where they're going to get the best out of every team. Good, bad, whatever. They're going to get the best out of every single team. And they should know that. We talked about it. Big target on your back. Get ready to bring it every game.
Yep, and it's going to be interesting to see how these new faces continue to integrate for the team in pink. All right, let's get into cliffhanger, and we will roll through the matches, and you just start talking about one when I sit there and blow through it. And obviously, this will be our first tour through the juice boxes on the whole for the week. And we'll go through them again tomorrow in our Stacked, Packed, and Rack show that includes Ted Ramey, the play-by-play voice of San Jose, because of the team that's playing San Jose this weekend. Chicago and Montreal, we had our friend Max Anderson come on early. Chicago, big favorite, no real surprise. Red Bulls and Revs, Red Bulls favored once again, no surprise considering what we saw from the Revs this past weekend against Nashville. Colorado favored at home against Portland at a plus 125, Portland a plus 200. I raised my eyebrow to that one. I'm intrigued. Minnesota United with FC Cincinnati. FC Cincinnati got to rest a lot of folks. They are a 220 dog at Minnesota, which I find.
Well, let's do Colorado. First of all, as I try to figure out why they're a plus 200. I would like the compos on that, but I'm taking that all day, every day. Look, Colorado looked like a medium rare steak that you had to ask the chef to just put back just for a couple more minutes. It's just not done. It's not done. They had difficulties getting out of the back. I talked to Josh Atencio after the game. He looked frustrated. He kind of mentioned that midfield from the Sounders got the best of them. If anything, Portland has a never ageless Diego Chara that we have to applaud. 400 games. The guy is a legend. Running down a player in the 87th minute in his 16th season to stop a potential scoring play, start the play basically for the winner, the game winner for Portland. Diego Chara is amazing. So I think Colorado's going to have a hard time. I wasn't high, and I'm still not high on Portland because they're going to have a lot of these games where they're going to have to outscore a lot of teams. I thought Velde was okay. Look, he's good on the ball. He's good on attack. But that first goal is all on him against Columbus. Just bad turnover. So I do think that Portland's going to have ups and downs. But against Colorado, what's the goal compost? And I'm taking Portland without a doubt.
Okay, it's plus 3.5 is where it flips to a plus 138, and you're in the plus to the north of plus 3.5.
Look, I'll just do it. I think 3.5 for this Portland team. It's very easy to get, plus the win. Give me both. I think Colorado is a team that's going to have a lot of hard time just trying to swim against the current or at least for the beginning of the season.
Okay, and new signee for Portland, by the way, from Gremio. They signed forward Alexander Aravena on loan, and so he is added to the stacks there in Portland as well.
I didn't think that was a need, by the way. I mean, I guess they were playing with Mora, kind of like this outside winger that would come inside. I think Anthony plays that other side perfectly. I think he's their X factor. But hey, you know what? More power to him. Maybe obviously Mora needs to be more of a striker, and that's all fine and well. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's where the need is. But yeah, he's a good player for sure. He's a guy he was on a lot of MLS teams' radars and a couple of European team radars.
Seattle favored on the road at RSL, plus 150 for Seattle. RSL is a plus 188 as a dog at Rio Tinto. What do you think?
That's crazy because Seattle hasn't won in Real Salt Lake in a long time. However, those numbers do make me positive that this is the year. This is the year when the Sounders finally get that win back. I asked Brian Smetzer about it. He said, look, I was under Siggy when there was a long time before we beat them, and we finally got it. I think it's this year. It's not a rotational game. It's not a midweek game. You get to use all of your tools. RSL week 1, I mean, they were okay in transition. A lot of need to use that wide left channel and try to pick the striker up with early releases into the box. Mm-hmm. But I just didn't see much from RSL. I think that the Sounders are a team that, regardless of losing Jordan Morris, the continuity, the chemistry, the influence that I think Ferreira's going to have this season, I think they're going to get the win finally against Real Salt Lake on the road.
Okay, and the other 7:40 Eastern kick, since you mentioned San Jose, and I've mentioned Atlanta United, San Jose is a minus 108 at home at PayPal Park. Atlanta United is a plus 250, 90-minute draws a plus 300. What say you?
Ooh, that has draw written all over it, to be quite frank. Right. I think that you're going to see a step back from San Jose on the ball. Atlanta was hard to watch. It was one of the games that I was very excited to see. Mm-hmm. And the home open, the MLS opener between St. Louis and who was the team?
Charlotte.
Yes, that was a funner game. It was just a better game overall. Atlanta started off pretty good, and then they allowed Cincinnati to just get on top of them. I still think Atlanta has some work to do. Mm-hmm. I'll do a draw in that one.
Okay. Dallas dog at home with Nashville SC. Houston a dog at home with LAFC. Sporting a dog at home against Crew. Crew's on the minus side there at a minus 118. A minus side road favorite at Sporting. Vancouver and Toronto. Vancouver, big favorite at home against Toronto. LAG, favorite at home against Charlotte at a plus 110. Sunday, Austin minus side hosting DC United. Obviously, not everybody's sold on DC United even after they knocked Philly around. Speaking of Philly, favorite at home against NYC. Then the purple team and Messi and friends. The big one on Sunday night. Messi and friends favored at a plus 120, traveling to Central Florida. And the purple team is a plus 195, draws a plus 290 in this one.
Yeah, that's a trap game for me, for at least on the betting side. I think Orlando was bad. I think that they have been shaky all preseason. I think defensively they just struggled on the attack. There was just no connectivity. There was a sense of width, but no ability to be more purposeful at the final third. That's a tough one, man. I'm staying away from that one completely, but I do think Inter Miami probably gets the win on that one. I think that they are just better equipped, and this Orlando team just doesn't look quite ready yet. I think Oscar will get them there, but I just don't think they're quite ready there.
And then last match on the board on Sunday, San Diego FC. They are a minus side favorite at home. No real surprise, once again, considering the number that they put up against CF Montreal. St. Louis City is a big underdog at a plus 400. San Diego gets the opportunity to get two on the plus side out of the blocks and have 6 points in their first two.
Yeah, I think they'll get the win, but I think it's going to be difficult. I think that St. Louis is really going to challenge them. Look, I like the ball movement from St. Louis. I like the intensity. Their press is really good. I was very surprised. And look, I know that Charlotte has issues of their own, but I think St. Louis was the better team over the 90 minutes. And a lot of it had to do in the way they just carried the ball, the way they defended, some of that intensity that we had seen from this team early on under Cornell. I think you saw a little bit of that. I thought they had a really good game.
All right. What else is going on with you, Pulso Sports? Sounder at heart. It's the beginning of MLS Next Pro this weekend. So we have to keep on that. We have to keep an eye on that too. And what else are you going to anticipate at Providence and Swedish seamstress shop and framing boutique?
Well, we're just like synchronizing like Kobe and Shaq. You just throw it the alley-oop. Because I'm glad that you brought up the MLS is back and all of that, because we're gonna get to talk to Joe Paulo, new head coach, assistant head coach for Tacoma Defiance. He's going to work with Paulo Nagamura with the Tacoma Defiance thing, and I'm just excited. That's today. That is my homework. That's what I'm going to go do over there at Providence, is go talk to Joe Pablo, how he's doing, how difficult it is to separate the player from the coach, what he's seen out of this group. I'm just excited. So that's going to be on Sounder Our Heart and what we call the Coach's Corner. That's a must watch. Absolutely. Then, of course, we're going to have everything that we find out about the team prior to their trip to RSL. You're going to find that on Pulso Sports. Of course, do not forget to listen to What We Learned This Week with Jeremiah Oshan, as well as Sounder Our Heart. You can find that in the Sounder Our Heart podcast network as well. And then on Monday, we'll break down the week that was. We'll talk about the Sounders, see if they did get that win at RSL on Loving Scorchers kickoff with Ari Lillenwall. And I think that's all I got.
That's plenty, man. We will catch up with you again this time next week. As always, enjoy your second cup of coffee. Love you very much. We'll see you again this time in 7 days. Be good.
Appreciate you guys. Good luck to Atlanta, guys.
Yes.
Lots of love to y'all.
Yes. And so there he goes with the second cup of coffee. And there goes our buddy Nico Moreno. And he just like